Fantasy Land. This your boy Freelancer Joe, ready to once again get cracking. Well, mostly ready. Mentally ready? Yeah, probably just mentally ready. Physically ready? Still feeling a bit under the weather. Even though the weather looks gorgeous and beautiful outside. But Freelancer Joe wouldn't know because he has been cooped up now for the past quite a few days now. Trying to reconvalesce. Despite my obvious physical virility and what's another word for verb? No. Stamina? No. It's a word that implies very healthy-looking person. Robustness. Yes, there we go. Despite my obvious masculine robustness, like any man, when we get laid low by an illness, we tend to act like babies. Or most men, I should say. I don't want to generalize. Actually, I do want to generalize. I always generalize. It makes things a lot easier. So, yeah, there we go. But I hope you all are doing much better today. Or at least, I hope you're doing better, or if things are going your way, because I want the best for you. I want the best for me, but once I'm taken care of, then I share my good fortune with everyone else. Would I sacrifice my well-being for other people? Depends on the other people. I am a bit of a misanthrope, so yeah, I'm not really a fan of the word altruism either, so well, I guess I will be generous if I feel like being generous, which I suppose is the best way. You should honestly want to be generous in order to be generous. But is generosity is better? Well, I was going to say about that whole generosity meaning more when you're the one sacrificing more, but it seems a lot of times in human nature that those who have less are willing to share more. So maybe fighting against human nature of sharing when you have more, is the more difficult task. It's the more difficult, but I suspect it's the less meaningful. I mean, when those who have very little to give it all. Yeah, okay. I'll go with that. Alright. Well, that's the philosophical portion of Freelancer Joe today, and what am I doing? Okay, I'm going to Escapian. Escapian. I don't think that's a verb. It should be. Every word that comes out of my mouth should automatically be added to Webster's. Escapian. That is my word for hitting the escape key. And now I'm going to lower my resolution, but while I'm doing that, getting things set up, I'll take this time. I already hope that you all are doing well. And then I briefly talked about the weather. Normally I should ham it up more. Ham it up more? Meh. To kill more time. I'm trying to get this thing to line up. I didn't realize it actually is kind of affecting my voice, as well as the fact that I'll admit I don't actually watch all of my own episodes either, because I was there when I recorded them. But you should watch what you make so that you can take pointers on improvements. And my voice is getting more nasally, or at least it sounds like it's getting more nasally. Maybe to other people it sounds perfectly fine. I mean, not that I expect I would have a James Earl Jones kind of voice. Awesome if I did. But it was always something that bugged me whenever I heard myself in a recording. And I think I've talked about this before. They say it's because when you hear your voice, it's processing through the vibrations of your skull, so it sounds different than when you hear it on actual recording. Plus, I also think, if I remember correctly, that there is an art, actually, to doing audio recordings to get it to sound like it really sounds, if I remember correctly. Well, I say art, but It's probably it's science. It's a science to it too. But most guys that do it, well, they say sound engineers, so I guess you could go with science. Unless, so what was I working on? Still fuzzy, and I should say working. Pretty certain this past week or so, my Freelancer episodes haven't really been about things working. Not me or my code. Well, that's not true, actually. The last thing wasn't, well, no, it was my code. It was my code. Oh, I think the most recent thing has not actually been my code. It was just, I'm not even sure it's I'm going to call it a configuration thing. All right. Let's see. So what was it? All right. So, okay. So I had removed all the warnings from my personal website, local copied, and I had gotten my email Lambda working again fully. Actually, the Lambda was working fine. It was just a configuration, or having the Lambda set up to generate the correct response to work with an API gateway endpoint. I got that working fine. And then I uploaded my website to AWS S3. And then we were missing some images, and I say we because even when I share my successes and I share my failures. No, that's not true. That was my fault. I hadn't uploaded all the images correctly, but the other issue, which we narrowed down fully, was that it appeared that the content distribution via CloudFront was not fully synced up with what I had uploaded. So I'm hoping now that it's 24 hours later, it's all synced up. So let's check by going to freelancerjoe.com, which is still offline. Alright, I am almost certain that freelancerjoe.com properties, it is properties. I have specified it to be learn more. I always click on that. Why do I always click on that first thing? So it should be index.html. If we go to my website via the S3 link directly, it goes there. And if I remember correctly, everything shows up. There are three things that were missing. One was my image. We see that there. Two was clients, the client image. We see that there. And third was the services were not correctly displaying. Okay. So it still says index.html. So, okay. All right. It is possible in this particular instance, my browser now might be out of sync. So clearly my browser was out of sync. These are these little tricks and nuances that you have to pick up along the way. And it's also another reason why well, one of two reasons why I don't actually bother trying to memorize every little bit of trivia and small detail about some new and greatest technology, because most often you're not actually going to need them. Cool to know. And sometimes they come up in interview as questions, just to check your technical knowledge. But to be honest, any place that actually asks me those types of questions, I generally don't want to work there, because those are the kind of places that focus on the small details as opposed to the larger details of actually getting things working. I mean, it's great that in this minor version of this library, if you do this particular combination of things, it's going to behave this little way. But if you never ever do that sort of thing, you use that library and you do that particular combination of things, a very esoteric thing, why bother learning about it? That's one reason why I never bother to learn those things. The other one is because Freelancer Joe is lazy, and I don't want to bother memorizing things that'll be of little use to me later on. Okay, so now let's see if my picture shows up. My picture's there. Let's see if my client picture shows up. Client picture's there. And let's see if my services show up. Services are there. Double check portfolio. Portfolio's there. All right, so the CloudFront content distribution is all synced up. Wow, success. In the first 10 minutes? All right, we'll wrap it up for now. I really should end it on a high note. We got an alarm here. Open issues. Ooh, okay. What do we got here? Connect operation. Oh, that was a problem. Contact trace. One was the 23rd. Oh, that was today. Delays in forming contact trace records and degraded service for the metrics and call recording UI in the US East region. Okay, that doesn't affect me. I don't track metrics. The people that should be looking at me are looking at me. And the people that aren't really should be. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. All right. The only people that aren't looking at me are the people that should be, but just don't know it yet. All right, so my website now is up to date. Warning free. Contact form should be working fine. Let's go ahead and test it. Joe Cool. Yes, I am. Joe at iscool.com. Pretty certain somebody's registered that. Is Joe cool? Cool as ice. Watch this not work. Hey, oh, I swear, I really need to cut that out. I don't think it's not intended to be offensive, but in this day and age, in this particular climate, oh my goodness, you know what? I did that on the wrong website. I did that. Alright. Alright. I did that on the direct link to the S3 hosted location and not the contact point. So, Joe Premature. Joe at premature.com. Joe celebrates too early. Alright. Sometimes. Alright, now let's see if it can work. What I'm checking to see is if the content distributed website, as we can see by freelancerjoe.com, actually works. Okay, and it works a lot faster too. Alright, there we go. So now, let me check the logs, because I think that was one thing I changed. Alright, clean, nice. Okay, alright. What are we going to do now then? Well, the first thing we need to do after I've uploaded it, let me check if I actually committed this. I believe I've been getting sloppy about doing that. Alright, so I just changed. I'm going to switch folders because I'm still looking at my Lambda stuff. I decided not to upgrade those Lambdas. It's one of those interesting things that helps me learn where if I deliberately leave in something that will break if I try doing it again without thinking about it. And that helps reinforce my memory. Basically, if I keep hitting my shin on something, I will eventually learn that that thing is there. Whereas if I move it out of the way, I forget that hitting my shin in it will hurt. Alright, so what did I change? I changed the log level. Alright, so let's change it back to debug. It's moving awfully slow. Am I doing anything in the background? I don't think so. Alright. Directory is clean. Okay, so my workspace is all set up. My workspace. My website, it's all good to go. So what do we do now? 23rd, okay. Yeah, I had briefly talked about scrubbing the warnings also from my templates. Debated back and forth about whether or not to do it. I'm going to go ahead and do it. 2 reasons. Let me see. Okay, so one is since they are going to be the templates for future work that I do for potential clients, then it makes sense to go ahead and get rid of that technical debt now. And as for why I am bothering to do it this week, hopefully, is so that I can get it all done and uploaded before the end of the month. That way, when the Amazon Web Services billing cycle restarts in November, I should be on a clean slate. I don't think these uploads shouldn't push me above my threshold to incur additional costs. So basically, it'll be a free upload, relatively free. All right, so this is the Parallax directory. So let's go ahead and uline the Parallax project. Okay. All right. Template Parallax. All right, let's start it up. And while not started up, I will take this moment to pimp this flavor. LaCroix, what is it? Pamplemousse, which is grapefruit. And they helpfully put grapefruit in parentheses. Not parentheses. Why not just call it grapefruit? Why you gotta be all hoity-toity and say pamplemousse? I mean, obviously there are people that know that grapefruit is pamplemousse, otherwise they wouldn't have the word pamplemousse, but actually, you know what? Okay, see, now that has piqued my curiosity. I am looking that up. Unless LaCroix made up that word. Pamplemousse, yeah, grapefruit. French. You see, but LaCroix, the way they want you to pronounce it, they, as in the company, is LaCroix, whereas the French would say LaCroix, right? So if they're going to bastardize the French language, why would they even use? I mean, so how do they pronounce pamplemousse? Pamplemousse. I mean, do they say pamplemousse? I don't know. Okay. All right. So the template came up. Let's see what warnings we got. Do I remember how to fix these warnings? Oh, and these might be different warnings because this is all right. All right. Here we go. 2 children with the same key. Yeah. So that one's pretty straightforward. Top bar. I, being the star, should of course stay on camera. Well, I mean, I'm always on camera, but on screen. So it's complaining about the tool tip not having a key. Total. That is not tool. Tool. Toolbar. Tooltip. ID. Now the tooltip in a list, which is going to be in the social buttons. Really? Tooltip div created by 2 children with the same key. Oh, okay. Alright. That's actually a configuration issue. Alright. So the key here is basing it off the configuration object URL. If I look in my configuration object for social buttons, I'm using the same URL. Alright. So let's go with face. I should have finished typing that out. Facebook.com and Twitter.com. Alright, should I? Actually, I probably should have a unique value, but I mean, those are unique, but a real value meant to denote. See, a URL is supposed to be unique, but there's nothing. No. Let's see if that gets rid of it. I mean, hopefully that first one. Yeah, okay. So now we're in the nav bar. Okay. Better. Is that right? Connect with style, home view. Okay, what are you complaining about in the home view? Well, I mean, I know what it's complaining about, but where each child iterator. Really, I have an array, an iterator in here? I don't remember that. See if parallax. Not the bottom bar, is it? Okay, here we go. Yeah, parallax, push. Interesting. So I push a nav bar, and then I push the header, and then I push info. Okay. Interesting. I say that's interesting because I'm a little fuzzy onto why I'm doing this. I really am, in all honesty. Alright, render CFG parallax. For parallax objects. Where is these parallax objects coming from? CFG home.parallel. Parallax. Oh, okay. Interesting. So a whole part of my configuration thing, I believe. Okay, so key equals. But I can have multiple ones. So basically, I need to make sure that I have a counter to increment. Okay, let count. Let key counter equals 0. Kind of hacky. There's probably a cleaner way to do it. So this is nav bar. Okay, parallax dash nav bar. Parallax dash nav bar. Navi bar? Naval bar. I was thinking naval as in belly button, but I suppose you could also have, because the sailors, they like the bars too, so it could be a navy bar. Alright. Aww, but then I have to pass in the counter. Oh no, you have a key too. But the length is always going to be the same. So that's not right. Okay, so I think pass in the key. I may have anticipated that issue, but just didn't solve it correctly. And since this is a for loop, we'll go ahead and increment it. I mean, I could probably switch it to, instead of going through the array like that, I could dereference the array using the index, but can't say that I feel like doing that just yet. So let's see if that takes care of that. Key is not defined. Key counter. It's nice to have simple problems again. Yeah, if you have complicated problems, well, they're fun to solve sometimes, but if you keep getting them all the time, ugh. Arrgh. Arrgh. Come on, baby. Alright, at least it came back up. That's fine. Alright, let's see. Okay. Check the render method of navbar. Okay, so now navbar is complaining. Which is fine. I suspect I'll have to change these other views too. Navbar, has a toolbar, has navigation buttons. Same thing. Instead of ID, it should be ID. Really should read the documentation about the correct usage of ID and key. And I'm actually still debating whether or not I should be taking out those tooltips. Cool and all, but I can't say that I like their behavior. Okay, wait. I remember this one. Sort of. Yeah, you remember this one? You remember seeing it? React is not recognized through a label on a DOM element. Okay, this is the bottom bar problem. Bottom bar. So, but I don't remember the actual fix for it. But I do know where I fixed it, which was in my own website in the bottom bar. And I believe it had something to do with the fact that I was using a bottom bar as opposed to an actual... I was using the bottom bar incorrectly, or more accurately, not the way it was intended to work. Or to be used, I should say. And so I think all I had to do was, instead of using the bottom navigation, I still use bottom navigation. Oh no, that's my thing. Instead of using bottom navigation, I still use bottom navigation. There we go, yes. Instead of using bottom navigation, I used this. Well, you look at that. I should have cleaned my code up before I uploaded it. Figures. Alright, well, since we know... Alright, let's see if I can just get away with using a div. Div. Yes, yes. Div. I assume div stands for divider. And encountered tooltip again. Alright, alright. Key. You got a key. This is probably the same thing as the other one because it's using the using the URL, and it's the same one. So let's change this to Facebook Bookja. Bookj, yes. I should have an entire Facebook dedicated to me, not just a page, but an entire book. Encyclopedia. Set of encyclopedias. Alright. Actually, we're not done because I have to click through the other links and check to see if the warnings are still there, and I'm almost certain some of them are. I'm going me see if that bottom div still comes up correctly. For the most part. Okay. But we are at the 30-minute mark. So I'll wrap this up for now. Thank you for joining me. Cool key words about liking and subscribing and commenting and suggesting. I hope you'll join me tomorrow. I'll probably be continuing the cleanup, and hopefully I will have gone to work instead of using up another sick day. Hopefully. That's so annoying. But, I'm not going to complain because it gives me time to spend with you. And because I'm fortunate enough to, be in a position where I can do that sort of thing. So, I kvetch a lot, but I'm not really complaining. I'm just jawing. So, hope you'll join me tomorrow for more jawing. And that in the meantime, you take care and God bless.